Hey there, UFC bettor. It's Captain Castiron, the world's leading UFC fight prediction expert, back once again to help you make money betting on the UFC. Now let's review my top 5 picks for UFC Fight Night Hall vs. Silva, also known as UFC Fight Night 181. This event was held on Saturday, October 31st, 2020 at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. With a total of 11 fights, UFC Fight Night 181 featured a main event of Uriah Hall versus one of the greatest to ever do it, Anderson the Spider Silva. I unfortunately lost 66.28 of the 100 units I risked on this event. Starting off my top 5 picks was a fight between Kevin Holland and Charlie Ontiveros in the middleweight division. The line on the favorite Kevin Holland was minus 800. With the comeback on the underdog Charlie Ontiveros at plus 502. I picked the favorite Kevin Holland to win this contest, risking 18 units to win 2.25. Kevin Holland is an orthodox fighter, fighting out of Fort Worth, Texas, USA. Standing 6 foot 3 inches tall with an 81-inch reach, Trailblazer has 6 victories in 8 UFC fights and an overall record of 19-5. Holland is a very versatile fighter who is able to use his lanky frame to implement whatever game plan he has devised to address his opponent's style and strengths. A common theme in his fights is keeping his opponents at the end of his punches and using head movement to avoid being hit full strength. Holland has 9 wins by knockout, 6 by submission, and 4 by decision, and has never been knocked out. Charlie Ontiveros is a switch stance fighter standing 6 foot 2 inches tall with a 78-inch reach, fighting out of Cleveland, Texas. The 29-year-old American bad boy has the deck stacked against him as he is making his UFC debut on 2 days' notice and is moving up a weight class. Ontiveros is sloppy and defensively irresponsible, which is illustrated by the fact that he has been knocked out in each of his 6 losses. Kevin Holland has every advantage in this fight and should be able to win it on the feet or on the ground if he chooses to. As it transpired, a slam takedown ended the night for Ontiveros in round 1 as Holland wasted no time in dispatching his overmatched foe. I got my 18 units back plus 2.25 units more. At position 2 in my top 5, I predicted the outcome of a lightweight division scrap between Bobby Green and Thiago Moises. Bobby Green was the favorite at minus 239, and Thiago Moises was the underdog at plus 186. I favored Bobby Green to win this contest and earn me 7.53 units on an investment of 18. Bobby Green is a right-handed 34-year-old with 14 fights in the UFC to his credit. From the fighting state of California, USA, King Green is 5'10" with 71 inches of reach. He is a good boxer, a good wrestler, and in general can do it all. Despite being a well-rounded fighter, he often curries disfavor with the judges by showboating and talking too much in the cage. Several of the decision losses in his 8-5-1 UFC record might have been judged differently if he had toned down his distracting antics. Thiago Moises is a 26-year-old Brazilian who has fought 4 times in the UFC from the orthodox stance. Alternating wins and losses in the octagon, the American top team student is very talented for one so young in the game. At 5 foot 9 inches tall with a 70-inch reach, Moises has 3 wins by knockout, 6 by submission, and 4 by decision, and has never been finished in a fight. With his UFC losses to powerhouses Beneil Dariush and Damir Ismagulov, Moises is fresh from a victory over Michael Johnson in his last fight. I saw this fight continuing the pattern of alternating wins and losses for Moises as Bobby Green would show his veteran savvy, stuffing the takedown, boxing smartly from the outside, and winning a clear decision. It was a very close fight, and in the end, Moises was awarded the victory 29-28 on all 3 judges' scorecards. My tally of units was reduced by a count of 18. The middle pick of my top 5 featured a fun matchup of Bryce Mitchell and Andre Fili in the featherweight division. Bryce Mitchell checked in at -165, with +131 the return on the underdog, Andre Fili. Andre Fili was my selection to win this contest, and I risked 18 units on him to win 23.58. Bryce Mitchell is an exciting young southpaw from Searcy, Arkansas, USA. The man they call Thug Nasty is undefeated and is a whirlwind of submission activity. He has ended 9 of his 13 fights by submission, and at 26 years old is a veteran of 4 UFC fights. Occupying the co-main event slot, the owner of a submission win by twister in the UFC is clearly held in high regard by the bald one. Andre "Touchy" Fili is 30 years of age and fights out of Team Alpha Male in Sacramento, California, USA. The Uriah Faber protege boasts 9 wins and 6 losses in 15 UFC fights, and has 9 overall wins by knockout. At 5 foot 11 inches tall with a 74-inch reach, Fili has excellent size for a 145-pound fighter. Despite not having a wrestling background, Fili has excellent timing on his reactive double leg to complement his effective striking game. My prediction for this fight was a victory for Andre Fili as the underdog. I thought the larger and stronger Fili would stuff the takedowns of Mitchell enough to stay out of danger on the ground. Using his length to pepper the fading Mitchell with strikes from the outside, Fili would eventually get the TKO on the feet. Mitchell proved me completely wrong, as his non-stop pressure resulted in 7 takedowns landed and a 100-51 strike ratio in his favor. He won a unanimous decision, tallying 30-27 scores on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards. 18 of my units down the drain. Pick number 4 of my top 5 was in the welterweight division, as Jason Witt and Cole Williams were set to rumble. The line on the favorite Jason Witt was -170, with the comeback on the underdog Cole Williams at +138. I picked the dog Cole Williams to win this contest, risking 18 units to win back 24.84. Jason Witt is 34 years of age and fights from an orthodox stance, hailing from Kansas City, Missouri. Training with James Krause at Glory MMA and Fitness, the Vanilla Gorilla is 5 foot 10 inches tall and boasts a reach of 70 inches. Witt has 7 wins by submission, all by rear naked choke, to complement his 3 wins by knockout and 6 by decision. With a 17-6 record overall and an 0-1 record in the UFC, Witt has a suspect chin as he has been knocked out 4 times in his 6 losses. Cole Williams is a right-hander who is 36 years of age and stands 6 foot tall with a 73-inch reach. Havoc is 0-1 in the octagon with an overall record of 11-2, winning 4 by knockout, 4 by submission, and 3 by decision. A wrestler by trade, Williams has been fighting MMA since 2008, but has just 8 fights in the last 9 years. He weighed in at 175.5 pounds for this fight, missing the contracted weight in the 170-pound division by 4.5 pounds. Cole Williams is a talented athlete who can punch, wrestle, and move around the cage effectively. I sided with him in this contest, thinking he would crack the weak chin of Jason Witt in the early going, getting the TKO or club and sub. I chose wrong, as Witt looked great in this fight, grounding his foe right after the opening bell. He spent the rest of the round pounding from the top, and in round number 2, followed up with another early takedown to arm triangle choke. I debited 18 units from my bottom line. The last of my top 5 picks was in the bantamweight division, where Miles Johns challenged Kevin Natividad. Miles Johns was the favorite at -203, with Kevin Natividad the underdog at +160. I backed the underdog Kevin Natividad to win this contest, putting up 18 units to win 28.8. Miles Chapo Johns is a 26-year-old fighter training out of Fortis MMA in Dallas, Texas, USA. He is an orthodox fighter who stands 5'7" with a 66-inch reach and boasts an impressive 10-1 record, going 1-1 in the UFC. Johns is a wrestler who has 2 wins by knockout, 2 wins by submission, and 6 wins by decision. He is coming into this fight trying to rebound from a flying knee knockout loss in his last fight at UFC 247. Making his UFC debut, Kevin Quicksand Natividad is 28 years of age and fights out of Arizona Combat Club. He is 9-up and just 1 down overall, with 5 of his wins and his lone loss by knockout. I saw this fight playing out with Natividad able to exploit the suspect chin of Miles Johns after surviving an early takedown or 2. My bad, as Johns kept the fight on the feet and outstruck Natividad in every round before putting his lights out in round number 3. Minus 18 units for me. The loss put my top 5 record for the evening at 1-4. And my bottom line in the red to the tune of 66.28 units. In addition to my top 5 picks at 18 units apiece we just went over, I picked every other fight on the card as I always do. Please check out my website, captaincastironfightpicks.com, for my fully documented picks going all the way back to November of 2014. Or check me out at captaincastiron on Twitter. Please like or subscribe if you appreciate what I am doing. Other ways you can support me include purchasing my picks, giving a donation, or signing up on my Patreon. All support is greatly appreciated.